Hey everyone, this is going to be a Rhino Beginner tutorial for architects. In this tutorial, we are going to learn by practice. We are not going to spend a lot of time explaining the basics. And this course is going to be divided into 5 main parts. We will start by massing to learn how to model different architecture morphologies. And after that, we are going to learn how to model some facades and then landscape and structure, and by the end of the course we are going to learn some tips and tricks through using Rhino inside Revit and the workflow that is recommended for conceptual design using Rhino and Revit. Okay, without further ado, let's start. I will just spend about 5 to 10 minutes explaining the basics that we need to know to be able to start massing. Okay, these are the 4 views. When open the software, to maximize any view, we can come here and double click to maximize and double click to minimize. And there are different view option like shaded and render and etc. Also, there is a very useful tool which is called Gumble. This tool it is this one is called Gumble. It's very useful. You can use it to move the object in X, Y, or Z direction. Also, you can use this plane to move it in the XY plane, or this one to move it in YZ, and so on. Also, you can use these circles to scale the object, and this to rotate. And there is a O snap. You can just change its location. I am going to move it here like this. Come it down a little bit. Here we have the O snap and the selection filter. And here we have the layers, object property and view setting. And there is this help. This help is very, very useful. If you come here into any command, it will show you like a short tutorial explaining how to use this command in different ways. So it is really very useful for any beginners. This help is very useful. Also, this bar, we can change its location. We can make it vertical or horizontal. I will make it horizontal. Something else, when you start, if you press in the middle mouse button, it will bring these tools, but we can change it. We can make it the middle mouse button, make it to pan. You can go to options and go to mouse. Here in the middle mouse button, we can choose manipulate view and choose pan. And to orbit, hold right mouse button to be able to orbit. Now we can pan, zoom in and out, of course, using the scroll, and pan using the middle mouse button. And also you can change the views from here. You can switch to top or perspective or whatever. You get the idea. And the snap is very useful because, for example, if I want to move this object from this edge without opening the snap, it's not going to snap to this point. So the snap is very important, and it contains a lot of options. Anyway, and this is disable. If you want to disable all this setting at one, you can go disable, but then we are going to enable it anyway. Also, project is very useful. I will show you why it's very useful. For example, if I came here in the top view and I want to draw some kind of curves in 2 dimensions. If I start drawing like this, and now if I came into 3D, you will see some points had snapped to the edge of the box, but this wasn't what I wanted. So before drawing the top view, you have to come here and open the project. Now anything I draw, even if it's snapped to the edges of this box, it's still going to be planar. For example, here, as you can see, it is snapped in a lot of edges and a lot of vertex of this box. However, it is still planar. And there is a smart track too. The smart track, if you open the smart track and I came, for example, here and want to draw a perpendicular line, it's going to be automatically snapped to a lot of different options. You can also go here to the setting and open and enable or disable some of these other features. But anyway, we are going to keep it as a default. So these are almost the basics that we need to know to be able to start modeling some masses. And okay, a few other things. There are this group of tools. Basically in Rhino, the objects are mainly four categories: the curves, surface, solids, and sub D, and the mesh too. So they are 5 actually. There are 5. But we're not going to explain everything in this tutorial. We are going to jump directly into modeling. Okay, yes, for the selection filter, this is very useful too. For example, without the selection filter, if we want to select a face or an edge from the object, we can hold Control Shift. Now we can select a face and move it, or select an edge and start editing, select a vertex or edge and start editing our geometry. This is very useful too. You can use Control Shift, or you can use the selection filter and choose sub object and start selecting, and after you finish you can disable sub objects. Another thing about the Gumble tool, if we Control Shift and select a face, you will see this circle here, here, and here. If we press on this circle and move up, it's going to extrude the face. Same thing to the edges. If we select this edge and press this circle, it's going to extrude the edge. Another thing, for example, if we rotated this edge, if we press on this white circle, it will bring us some options for the Gumble tool about aligning it. Now it's aligned to the C plane, so let's disable the auto C plane. I'm going to explain the auto C plane very fast too. If we come here, you will see that the Gumble is aligned with this plane. However, we can change this alignment setting by pressing this white circle and go to align to object instead of align to C plane. You'll see now it's aligned to the object, and this is very useful in a lot of cases. We are going to use it a lot when we are going to start modeling. What else? Okay, there is few very useful tools in Rhino 8, which is auto C plane. Let's delete this. Briefly, for example, if I have this kind of sloped face and I want to draw some curves here, what I had to do briefly, going to C planes and choose, for example, set C plane by 3 points and set this 3 to points. Now I have this plane. Now I can draw things. Because to understand how Rhino works about drawing curves, you can't just come here and start drawing curves in this face without creating a plane. You have to first create a plane to be able to draw something. For example, here I'm trying to snap or any point and to draw something, but I can't. Why? Because our plane is here. So I only can draw curves in this plane. If I want to draw something here, I have to come and create another C-plane and start drawing. And after finishing, if I want to switch back to the previous C-plane, I can come here to undo C-plane, and you can save the C-planes and a lot of other tools related to C-plane. The amazing part in Rhino 8 is the auto C-plane. If we enable auto C-plane and I want to draw something here, I can hold Ctrl Shift and press on this face. So as you can see, it is automatically created a plane aligned to this face. So now I can come here and start drawing whatever I want easily. And when I click away here, it switches back to the original C-plane. And there is a sticky C-plane. Now if I click here, even if I moved away, the C-plane is going to stay as it is. And to come back, so I have to uncheck the auto C-plane and press back to be able to get the original C-plane again. Another thing about the basics that we have to explain is record history. Record history is very useful too, because for example, I will just draw a few curves and rebuild it. We are going to explain these commands later. We are going to rebuild to add more control points, and press F10 to open the control points and maybe draw something like this. If I come here and press right click and to choose always record history and create some kind of loft between these two curves, and come to this curve and start editing it. As you can see, because we record the history, it is updated, and this is very, very useful in form finding, and when you don't know what the exact shape that you want to model, so it is kind of sculpting. So it is a very useful tool. Okay, what else? Okay, something else which is very important too is using tab. For example, if we have maybe something like this, and now I want to move this object in this direction with a specific length. We can type move, and now here I typed move and come to this edge and start moving. If I press tab, now as you can see, it is fixed in this direction. So I can type, for example, maybe 120 or whatever, and it's moved in this direction. Same thing in any other direction. Also, if you press tab again, you will be able to rotate it to another direction. So this is very important too. Also, another important thing is moving the Gumble. For example, if we select this object, you will find that the Gumble is in the centroid of the geometry. So if we scaled it in this direction or in this direction, it's always scaling it from the center. But what if we want to scale it just in this direction, for example? So we can select the object and come here in this point, and if you see this part, it's saying to you, if you want to copy, you can tab Alt, and to move the Gumble, double click. So for example, if we double click here, now I can move the Gumble anywhere. I will move it here, and now I can start scaling the object. The same thing is for the faces. For example, if I selected this face and I want to scale it here, so I can come here double click. But now you will see that the Gumble is aligned to the C-plane. So we can come here to this circle and double click and choose align to object. Double click here again, move it here. Now we can start scaling it like this. This is also very useful for form finding and designing objects. And we can also copy object using the Gumble. For example, if we come here and if we hold Alt and start moving the object. As you can see, we can create several copies. And another thing, if we, for example, draw some curves, okay, sorry, let's open the AutoC plane, come here, start AutoC plane, and start drawing some kind of rectangles. If we selected these curves, you will see this this line. We can using it to create some kind of holes and cut through objects. Another very important tip is using the right mouse button instead of enter. For example, if I'm working in a project and it contains a lot of curves, so I start drawing one curve and now I want to draw another curve. The first thing, okay, I will do just this. The first thing, I come here and choose a curve and start drawing the point. When you finish, you can press enter, or you can draw the curve and instead of pressing enter, pressing the right mouse button. And again, I want to draw a curve again. Instead of coming here, no, if I press the right mouse button, it will brings back the last command that you just used. So I can draw like this curve and bring the command back and keep drawing. And of course, this is very faster. And when you are working in a project with a lot of details and a lot of modeling, this can save you a lot of time. Another thing is zoom extend and zoom selected object and creating shortcuts. If the project became too large and you have a lot of objects that maybe are away from each other and somehow you zoomed a lot out and now you want to come back and you forget where are your models, you can come here and come to the set view tool group and choose zoom extend. It will bring you back, but still there are few things that are still away, so you can select the object you are working on and choose here zoom selected. And there is a shortcut for zoom extend by default in Rhino. If you press Ctrl Shift E, it's going to zoom extend. Zoom extend, yes. And for zoom selected, we can create our own shortcut. You can go to options and come to keyboard. Here these are the default shortcuts that are in Rhino, but we can create our own. For example, I created this for zoom selected. Control E. Let's type it again. Type single quote, then underscore, type zoom, then press space, underscore, and type selected. Now if I selected an object and press Ctrl E, it zoomed on this object. You can come back and start modifying it based on whatever. Oh, okay, something else. When I copied all this object, the record history was on. So when I change this object, all the other models are updated, as you can see. But because this was the original one that I used to copy all this. But if I come here, let's disable display. If I come here and start modifying one, it will give us an error that dragging broke history on one object. So now if I change this object, it's not going to affect anyone. And if I change this object now is not related to this one due to the adjustment that we just did. I will disable always record history for now. Last thing for this basics is changing the units. So if you type options, now the units are millimeter. We can come here to the units and change it maybe to meter, and the tolerance maybe keeping it as it is or increase it a little bit. And this is the display precision, and press OK. Now it's telling us changing the unit. Do we want to scale the object, because this object we're drawing in millimeter? So do we want to scale it or not? I will keep it to change unit only. Okay. I will come here and choose line to see the length. As you can see, the length is the length of the line is here. So the length of this part is 16 meter. Okay, that's enough for the basics. I think after knowing, if you were a completely beginner, after knowing all these details, you will be able to follow us when we are working on the massing. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial when we will start working on massing different architecture morphologies.